An 18-year-old left for what should have been an unforgettable trip. Hours later, he was gone. Authorities called it an accident. But for many people, that explanation raised even more questions. On July 4th, Nolan Wells, a promising young college athlete, embarked on a boat with friends to celebrate Independence Day. Horn Island, a remote barrier island off the Mississippi coast. It was a day meant for sun, water, and celebration. Smiling photographs show Wells standing tall among his companions. But the celebration ended in tragedy. When the boat returned to the dock later that afternoon, Nolan Wells was not on it. His absence marked the beginning of a desperate search and a lingering mystery that would capture national attention long after the fireworks faded. The initial hours stretched into a frantic night for his family, who reported him missing after a confusing call from a friend late on July 4th. The official search began, a multi-agency effort involving helicopters, boats, and search teams combing the island and surrounding waters. 2 days later, on July 6th, a park ranger discovered Wells's body in the water near the island's shore. Authorities said they suspected drowning and did not believe foul play was involved. For his family and many observers, that explanation felt incomplete. The case raised more questions than answers, turning a tragic accident into a perplexing case full of contradictions and uncertainties. The story spread beyond Mississippi, fueled by social media and the efforts of the family's legal team, led by Ben Crump. Trip photographs showing Wells, a young black man with mostly white friends, ignited a fierce debate about race, given Mississippi's fraught history. Authorities continued interviewing witnesses and analyzing digital evidence, while a parallel narrative took hold online. The family, citing contradictions and lack of information, commissioned an independent autopsy. The case became a crucible of grief, speculation, and a demand for transparency. This documentary will examine the known facts, relying only on verified public information, official statements, and news reports. We will piece together the timeline of his final hours, explore the official investigation's findings, and detail the independent autopsy results. We will also examine the unanswered questions, gaps in the timeline, conflicting accounts, and community concerns that have prevented closure. It is a story about a young man's life cut short, a family's search for truth, and a mystery where the line between accident and something more sinister remains blurred, leaving everyone to wonder what truly happened on that island. By all accounts, Nolan Xavier Wells was a young man on the cusp of a bright future, a figure whose presence was larger than life. Standing tall, often seen with a wide, infectious smile, the 18-year-old from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, carried an aura of quiet confidence and warmth. Friends and family remember him as someone who could light up a room, a person who was both driven and deeply caring. He was known for his towering physical stature, but those who knew him best point to the size of his heart and the strength of his character. He was a beloved son, a protective brother, a loyal friend, navigating the exciting transition from teenage years to the responsibilities and opportunities of young adulthood with optimism and grace. On the athletic field, in his academic life, making his sudden and tragic death all the more devastating for those who had watched him grow. Athletics were a central part of Nolan Wells' identity. As a gifted wide receiver, he earned a spot on the team at Southwest Mississippi Community College. His athletic pursuits were matched by his commitment to his education, demonstrating a maturity beyond his years, proving he was as serious about his studies as he was about his sport. He was a player who led by example. The dream of playing professional football was a powerful motivator for Nolan, but it was part of a larger vision for his life. He saw sports as a vehicle for opportunity, a way to build a better future for himself and his family. Every practice, every game, every class was a step toward realizing that dream, and the immense potential that was lost when his life was so abruptly cut short. Before the headlines and the unanswered questions, there was simply Nolan, a young man full of promise, whose journey was just beginning and whose story deserved a different ending. The morning of July 4th dawned with the promise of a classic American celebration. For Nolan Wells and his friends, the plan was simple: a boating trip to Horn Island. Photos taken before they departed capture the mood of anticipation. Nolan is seen smiling, towering over his friends, his arm casually draped around their shoulders. They set out on a boat, one of many heading to the barrier island that day. Horn Island is a remote, undeveloped stretch of land, about 10 miles from the mainland, accessible only by water. On the 4th of July, the island's shores would be dotted with boats and people. Nolan and his friends joined a large, informal gathering. The boat carrying Nolan Wells and his friends arrived at Horn Island, joining the throng of other vessels anchored near the shoreline. The northwest tip of the island would have been a hive of activity. Music, laughter, and the sizzle of grills would have filled the air. It was into this lively and chaotic scene that Nolan and his companions integrated themselves. This environment, with its transient population and lack of formal oversight, would later complicate efforts to establish a clear and undisputed sequence of events. According to public statements, Nolan was seen interacting with others. While on the island, he was reportedly seen talking to a girl. According to a statement made by Judge Ashley Cole, the mother of one of the boys, her son last saw Nolan around 3 p.m. The official account suggests that Nolan Wells made a decision to separate from his original group. Sheriff John Ledbetter stated that based on the investigation, it was believed that Nolan chose to stay there. This detail was corroborated. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. The reasons behind this alleged decision remain one of the case's most debated and unverified points. Did he have a confirmed ride back? These questions have never been publicly answered. Further complicating the narrative is the emergence of a video that allegedly captured an argument on the island. Attorney Ben Crump announced that his team had obtained footage and claimed it included Nolan asking for his phone. This introduces a conflicting element, shifting it from a voluntary choice to a more complicated and potentially coerced situation. The last confirmed sighting of Nolan Wells is therefore shrouded in uncertainty. What happened during these hours is the crux of the mystery. Around 4:30 p.m., the boat prepared to depart Horn Island. The group needed to leave because of mechanical trouble. When they left Horn Island for Ocean Springs, Nolan Wells was not with them. Not until about 11 p.m. did Nolan's family get a call. A 7-hour gap, a perplexing part of the timeline. When Nolan's family got the late call, they were thrown into panic and confusion. Their son was missing. The holiday ended, but the mystery began, unfolding hour by painful hour. With Nolan Wells officially reported missing, a massive search operation was launched. The effort became a coordinated, multi-agency response. Helicopters sliced through the air. On the water, search boats crisscrossed the Mississippi Sound. Teams on foot combed the shoreline, the dunes, and pushed through thickets. The search was a race against time, fueled by Nolan's family's growing desperation. Nolan's mother's pleas on social media galvanized support. Volunteers joined. Family members joined. The United Cajun Navy mobilized their boats and crews. The island was scoured from shore to shore. The initial search on July 5th found nothing. The tragic breakthrough came the morning of July 6th, nearly 2 days after he disappeared. A U.S. National Park Service agent discovered Nolan's body. He was found face down in the water off Horn Island's northwestern shore. The discovery ended the desperate search. Hope he might be found alive was extinguished. Jackson County Coroner Bruce Lind later confirmed the ID through dental records. The search was over, but the investigation into how and why Nolan Wells died was only just beginning. Following the recovery of Nolan Wells's body, the Jackson County Sheriff's Department formally took the lead. Sheriff John Ledbetter publicly stated investigators did not suspect foul play. Detectives began interviewing witnesses. The FBI was brought in to help analyze digital evidence. An official autopsy was performed on July 7th. In addition to the physical exam, toxicology tests were ordered. Results could take several weeks or even months. That position did not sit well with Nolan's family or their legal team. They said the investigation lacked transparency and that the no foul play conclusion was reached too quickly, driven by what they described as contradictions. Nolan Wells's family commissioned a private independent autopsy. The preliminary findings were far from conclusive. Dr. Mitchell ruled the cause and manner of death as undetermined pending further investigation, one of the most significant and alarming details. Dr. Mitchell noted that parts of Nolan's throat, were not present, having been retained by the state medical examiner. Because he could not examine these parts himself, Dr. Mitchell stated, "This pathologist cannot rule out injury to the neck as a contributor or a cause of death." The independent autopsy provided no definitive answers, but it succeeded in formally challenging the official narrative. The core of the mystery remains. What truly happened on Horn Island? These lingering questions make it hard to call the case a simple accident. The NAACP has urged the Department of Justice to open its own transparent investigation. Reverend Al Sharpton has offered a $50,000 reward for information. As of today, the investigation remains active and ongoing. For now, the case rests in a state of suspension. Painful questions waiting for answers that may never come. Some mysteries fade with time, others continue to demand answers. Whether new evidence emerges, only time will tell.